we had a client called Pick'em, which was a flavoured toothpick, and they did £1 million in 3 months on TikTok Shop alone. And I thought, wow, we really need to think about this. And
it's kind of the new QVC.
Yeah.
I think for younger customers, traditional telly is dead. Like, I never watch anything because it's on at 9 p.m. Being able to like hop on and off a TikTok live on their phone and being like, oh, that's an interesting product. Oh, that's quite cool. She's presenting it live. That's how people are going to consume a product.
Yeah. Sometimes startup brands try to go too fast. That phrase of like to go slow to go fast. I know it's like a well-trodden word, but I think there is a time when people can just like jump in too soon to a retailer when they haven't done the background work. The last sort of 3 brands that reached out to us have said, oh, we've just got into Sainsbury's. I think we're going to get delisted. It was like their first listing outside of anything else that you would expect.
Before we get into today's episode, I want to give a shout out to a special sponsor, Sam Lawrence Recruitment. We all know that finding the right people or the right job can feel really overwhelming, and that's exactly where Sam comes in. He really just gets it. It's not just about ticking boxes, it's about connecting the right people with the right opportunities. He takes the time to understand you and exactly what you're looking for, whether you're building a team or taking that next career leap. So definitely get in touch. Trust me, you'll be glad you did. Charlie is a 3-time founding member of Startup Brands, taking each from 0 to 1 million within 18 months. Across different categories, channels and countries, including launching operations in the US and Australia. He is now the founder of Plug-in Brands, an award-winning outsourced FMCG sales agency working with the fast-growth food and drink brands, and Dive-In Agency, a TikTok Shop agency helping brands turn social commerce into real revenue. With a background in go-to-market strategy, brand development and distribution through retail and wholesale channels, there isn't anyone better placed to help you supercharge your brand. Charlie and the Plug-in Brands team work with a host of brands, including Moju, Muller, Clipper Tea, Who Gives a Crap, and Lovecorn. So if you're in need of an extra pair of hands to really step on your growth this year, Charlie is the guy you need to be in touch with. Getting to Grow is also brought to you by the Coconut Collab. And full disclosure, as I'm sure most of you are aware, I work there, so I know how much love goes into everything that we make. We're all about creating delicious, dairy-free, plant-based treats that do not compromise on taste. From our creamy yogurts to our indulgent desserts, everything's made with coconuts and a whole lot of care. If you're looking for something naturally good but seriously tasty, and my favourite is just our natural coconut yogurt, I have it most mornings with granola and lots of honey. Trust me, you're going to absolutely love it.
Hello, Charlie.
Hello.
Welcome. Hi.
You. Hi.
So nice to have you in the studio.
Yeah, it's nice to be here.
Thank you for spending your morning with me. Now, very excitingly, Charlie is the new sponsor of Getting to Grow.
Yay.
For the year. I'm so excited to have Charlie on board. He is a top dog in the industry, but I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
I wouldn't introduce myself as a top dog.
You are a top dog. Charlie knows everyone.
I'm second to you at least, if not third or fourth. So Charlie, founder of Plug-in Brands. My little claim to fame is I was a founding member of 3 startup food brands. Going into like tricky categories and seemingly making them a success. So my little one is my little phrase that people hear me say all the time is I got from inception through to retail £1 million in sort of 18 months, give or take, and left on a high with my most recent one, which was Milliway's plastic-free chewing gum company. Shout out to those guys. And just went off on my own to do some sort of fractional work, and found myself getting clients, hiring people, to the point where we're now a 7-person, I believe, agency of Plug-in Brands, and we've got 20 brands that we work with across food service, retail, and everything else in between.
And I love your team. I have to say, the guys are amazing. There's so much energy when I walk into your office. Like, I can tell they're all like, hi, how are you? Like, it's a really fun place to be.
Yeah. It was never something that I, like, to be honest, I never really thought that was something I was going to do. I'll be really honest. I've got a little boy. I thought, I'll spend more time with him. That'd be nice. Like, fractional work is a bit more freedom, a bit more flexibility. I was just telling someone about this earlier. And there's just a need. There's such a need. And so many people have like reached out to us. And our thing now is just making sure that energy and that vibe's still there for the team. Because we are very fortunate with the team. They're so good, I have to admit. And my first hire, which was Adam, which I will give him a little shout out, he is a large reason as to why we're able to build and grow.
Yeah. So you have Dive-In Agency as well as Plug-in Brands. So talk to us about the 2 separate businesses that you have now.
Okay. So it kind of, everything's was born out of plugin brands.
Yeah.
So I'll go back just a step quickly. So we had about 7 or 8 brands at the time for plugin, and people just think that I either will know someone or be able to do it. And half of those brands said, TikTok shop, tell me about it. I'm like, I don't even know. Like, I'm not even on TikTok. My wife sends me TikToks and I have to have the app so I can look at it and have a little chuckle and know what she's on about. But saw some numbers, and we had a client called Pick'em, which was a flavoured toothpick, and they did £1 million in 3 months on TikTok shop alone. And I thought,
and
okay,
that's flavoured toothpicks.
Flavoured toothpicks, high margin, just incredible, and huge like marketing tool, right? They were incredible. And it just made me think, wow, we really need to think about this. And with the clients that we already had that were after it, we had like a ready-made business already. So we had an office, we had clients, we had back office of the business. And the options were to hire someone in-house who's a bit more junior and give it a go, or find someone to like partner up with. And I've been really lucky. So Will Belitho, who is my co-founder, was the first hire of TikTok to launch TikTok Shop in the UK. He's an adult, he's been there, he's done it. It's a big beast. Like, I don't think I wouldn't have respected it enough if I just went, right, okay, we're just going to hire one person to see what happens. It's a real like operation. And so Dive In was born out of a need that we had from clients, but it is its own separate entity. But we're both in the same office. They'll probably move out soonish. And that's got 6 or 7 clients. Will kill me now. I think we've got 7 clients for Dive In Agency. Some big ones and some sort of smaller ones. The bigger ones are starting to bigger companies are starting to understand a little bit better now. So I think we're like in its infancy, but it's like a super exciting space.
It's kind of the new QVC.
It is the new Q. Well, you know about the new QVC.
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
I think for younger customers, traditional telly is dead. Like, I never watch anything because it's on at 9 p.m. I know everyone's obsessed with like Love Island and Traitors, like they're like, that's the exception, not the rule. Nobody sits down and watches like normal telly.
Yeah.
And I think we're all glued to our phones. We know that. And being able to like hop on and off a TikTok live on their phone and being like, oh, that's an interesting product. Oh, that's quite cool. She's presenting it live. That's how people are going to consume a product.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think that if you look at traditional marketing versus like the world that we're in, which is like commercial side, and I think that commercially you can still put it in places where it's for marketing. So I would call it sales and marketing. This is like the ultimate sales and marketing, right? You've got people that are addicted to their phones, that are flicking through it every 5 seconds and without knowing being sold to, with respect. And in 2 clicks of a button, you can buy that product. So if you have someone, it's like word of mouth on steroids. So if you're flicking through and you go, oh, actually, I'm interested in hair and beauty and beauty, fashion, and like supplement based products are like absolutely killing it. And food and beverage, as always, is like always sort of the last. It was the last in Amazon. Now everyone's doing like £1 million on Amazon a year. Like, you hear it all the time. And TikTok Shop's gonna be that. But like I said, just like the speed in which it's happening is incredible. And it's basically someone that you should really respect their opinion of telling you buy this product. You've got much better chance than if you put it on a shelf and it's just in with everyone else and you don't really know, either trading on price, promotion, maybe you like the look of the brand, like nothing's really influencing you to buy that product. On TikTok Shop, you've got people telling you about how great it is for these particular reasons.
Yeah, it's an interesting space and one to like definitely keep an eye on. And with plugin, have you got any examples of brands that you have taken on board and then, if you're able to share like values or percentages, grown their business by from the sales arm?
Yeah, I won't say the client name. I'll give you some examples. So there's 2 that stick in my mind straight away. One is we took a brand on that wanted to build their distribution and their sales out in the out-of-home market, specifically within like route to markets like Breaks and DDC and a couple of others. And month on month, we've grown that 51%, sort of an average of 51% each month. So compound, which is fantastic. Core listings now across a couple of contract caterers. And we've really grown that. And what we were able to do was within the sort of first 2-3 months, we don't really know because it's such a new thing. We didn't really know what the KPIs and the targets could look like, but very quickly we could see that. And with that trend of 51%, we've actually started to exceed that in certain times just because of on promotion or seasonality, fine. But when it drops down, it doesn't drop down below that 51%. So for us, that was like it just shows that we can add value, and it shows that we are really doing a good job. The second one is in forecourts. It's quite an interesting one, actually. So it's a really big company, won't name the company name, but it's a really big one. And they just couldn't get into forecourts and convenience for whatever reason. And I knew the guy, and I said, look, give us 6 months. Like, why not give us 6 months? See if we can crack it for you. He knew me. He knew like that we're like you are very tenacious and give it a go. What I didn't tell them was I didn't actually know anyone in forecourts. So in 8 weeks, we got them 4 forecourts.
Wow.
Across 1 national and 3 regionals, but all of them were about 100 stores or above, so like quite sizable. And it was full range, and it was super easy. And they were like, wow, what's happened here? And I actually think that is a great example of having a startup energy. Going into a brand that everyone knows is like the most powerful thing you could ever get, because we as startup people are working with brands that typically outside of London or even little bubbles, they're not going to know, or even outside the food world, they're not going to know. So it's trading, it's a lot harder. Whereas if you just went, I'm going to put this brand that everyone knows in an environment where everyone can buy it, brilliant. So that was a really good one. And subsequently, they've now bought more time from us as well. So now we're doing some food service piece with them, and et cetera, et cetera.
But you're not just out of home.
No. I think what happened was my background is retail and out of home. And when I first started, I was fractional, right? So basically I just said, tell me what you want me to do. And I was like, jack of all. And what I did find was I had like 1 retail client, and then most of them were coming out of home based on the fact that it's high on resource, sort of low on profit with respect. Like the big opportunities with the Tesco's, the Sainsbury's, and etc. It's a lot more bitty. So they were quite keen on outsourcing that out-of-home piece, keeping retail in-house. So we built our business based on the need of being an out-of-home. But my background is retail as well. So what we've got now is we've got out of the 18, 19 clients, we've probably got 4 that are in retail. And retail spans across traditional grocers and then convenience and forecourts. But what we have now, we have a very, very strong and capable person called Simon Greenwood-Haig, who's coming in and looking after our head of retail, who's being head of retail for us. So we're really trying to expand that side. So what people might see is we're experts in wholesale out of home. I think that's where we were born, but I don't think that's necessarily where we're going to be. You know, we should be both. We should be experts across both.
Absolutely. So for any brand listening out there, you are the kind of go-to guy if you need to expand distribution in retail, in food service, in out of home, in forecourts, convenience, like the lot. You have the expertise and the capability to really help brands scale in so many different areas.
Yeah. Absolutely, and I think also it's a case of having a consultative view. So we have a couple of really senior people, and then some really, really strong, like more junior talent. I don't want to say the junior piece because I think they warrant being like they're learning and growing so quickly. But you've got a lot of people that are talking to a lot of people, and then you've got some experienced heads that could go, don't do that, because what you'll realise in 6 months' time is X. And we all know those horror stories across. I suppose it's more retail in that side. Obviously, I'm not here to shout out names, but there are often times that I can see on LinkedIn or whatever, I'm going, I can see that's going to go wrong. So it's that sustainable growth that we're able to give, but also access to more people because we've got a resource of 7 people.
Yeah. And I think it's also worth just getting in touch with Charlie if you're, even if you're on the fence, like, have a call with you and just explain your worries and say, look, this is where my struggle is, or like, I'd really like to expand here. And I'd love to understand from your point of view, how would you tackle my issue? Like, just have a call with you, because like that's how we started, right? Like we didn't know what was going to come from our initial chat. So I think those conversations are really important. And you're super approachable as well. I think sometimes sales agencies and consultancies can be, scary is the wrong word, because people, it's a service, right? Like you need to pay for their time and their energy and stuff. So it's understandable from that point of view, but it's more like they are also there to help you and they want you to grow as much, because ultimately that's a success story that you can then tell other customers, say, well, actually we took you from £10 to £100.
Absolutely.
So
I think you're right. And I think that there's, I expect there's quite a lot of people that were on the fence. And there was a stat, I can't remember what it was now. Back in the day, there was a stat where I said, I'm pretty sure it was about 50% that we turned down. So out of the inbound people that come to us, and a good example of this is from the middle of November to the end of December, we had 20 clients that want to work with us. And for various reasons, from a non-compete perspective, we might not be able to, but there is an element that we don't think we can have enough value, right? So there are times, and there'll be people listening to this going, yeah, he did that with me, where reached out to me and I went, I just don't think, one, you're going to get the ROI on the amount that I need to charge, and two, maybe at that point in time we won't add enough value to actually help you with that. I always say, like, we're not really that good in like grotty conveniences, but we can do it in forecourts and like the higher end convenience. So we do have our place, and we do know the ones that we would add value to. And I think, yeah, you're probably right. And I'll be careful how I say this, but there might be people that are sat there going, I've been burnt by an agency or by a consultant for various reasons. It's all about reputation for us. And to your point, £10 to £100, obviously, hopefully it's more than that.
Yeah.
But that's what we're here for, right? Because we will get more business based on more people going, they've done a great job for us. Here's the evidence. Go speak to Charlie or the team. So I think that what's been really like heartwarming for me is, although we started 2024, because we're 26 now, 2024, and it was me on my own, I then hired someone in September of that year. So I actually really only think we've become an agency as of last year. And so to have like 20 brands, of which 18 of them reached out to us, and I haven't been able to do any outreach, shows that we are doing that £10 to £100, and people are seeing that we're approachable. So I think you're right. Like, people should reach out, and I'm not going to like sell our services. I'm going to understand what you need, and I'm going to say, I don't think that's us, or absolutely we can help you for these reasons.
Yeah, and you'll turn down people because you don't think you can add value or deliver, and ultimately that's exactly what they're going to want to hear.
Completely.
Because if they are going to spend their money, they want you to deliver.
Yeah, and we've given tough feedback to our existing, like, current clients. Could be anything from taste, which is always tough, because it's like, it's their baby, and it's like, well, I think it tastes good, and we're like, well, we just send it to like 20 people, and they've all said. So we can be the buffer, the conduit between a buyer that sometimes doesn't actually tell you exactly what they're thinking, they just go no and shut it, and you're like, where's the feedback? Where can I like learn and develop from? And then you've got and we can do that for you, right down to like price or whatever else. So we do want, even though, say, we take that client on board and we start hearing things, we can still give you that sort of constructive feedback that maybe you won't get anywhere else. And
I've written a load of questions, but classic me and you, we haven't even
we've done half of them.
I know,
yeah.
Which is great. I've just thought of a question, actually, and a lot of people, when it comes to sales agencies, are worried that you've got 8 employees working across a few different brands. So how are they prioritizing my brand in front of that buyer, and how do I know that actually they're going to be as passionate as me selling the product? How do you overcome that barrier?
It's a great question, and I think if we're going to snap this up, but in the previous question you asked, like, how do you choose your brands, right? And I think that's important, is we need to be able to know that we can, one, add value to these clients, number one, and with that adding value means that we believe in it. So if we believe in it, then we're going to give it the time of day. So I think there's if I was to tell you the type of brands, the portfolio of brands that we've got, they're all quite similar. They're like similar vibe. They are cool brands. They're doing something different. It's not just a like a normal whatever product. So everyone that we do is like, everyone that we sign up is curated. So the team are excited. The second thing that we did, and we did this not very recently, maybe like the start of last year, and it filtered through to the summer of last year, that we now have like channel experts. So the plan and the way that we're doing it is that our sales team are experts in regional route to markets, or bid food, or breaks, or forecourts. So essentially, out of the brands that we have, we would be able to then speak to that buyer about 3 or 4, 5 or 6 brands, because one, they trust us, 2, we can speak to them because we've got a great relationship. So it means that brand will get the right opportunity at the right time.
Yeah.
So it is definitely that, and I would say that we do cap of how many brands we have until we start hiring and getting some new talent, of which we're always looking.
Yeah, and ultimately, like, FMCG, for anyone listening that knows, it's a really small world. Like, everyone knows each other, so you're not gonna take on a business that you don't think is going to work for you, because your friend might know them and then there's a bad reputation for you, and that's obviously detrimental to your business. So if you are sat on the fence, just give Charlie a call and he'll give you like the honest kind of like next steps for you as a business, and any other questions that you definitely do have, he's happy to answer.
Yeah. I would also just say one thing on that, because a good example of also all of us getting excited and seeing the value, and then something like stopped us in our tracks. I feel very open to say this because I know the guys well. So at Pickham was exactly that. So Pickham, we had a few opportunities on the table, but there was legislation that meant that we couldn't actually work with that retailer for whatever reason. And we had a contract, we had length on the contract, and because everything stopped because we couldn't do this particular piece of work, out of all of our controls, we had to go to an external consultant. It was to do with like a regulation thing, that we decided, well, we can't do anything. We just got to pause it or stop it. So in our world, it's very much a case of, if we're not adding value and we're a cost to your business for whatever reason, then like, although there's a contract in place, we should be doing the right thing and cutting it there.
Yeah. So it brings a huge human element to like everything you do as well. So looking ahead, what does winning in FMCG really look like now?
So I think it's what I see from really strong brands is really knowing who you are as a brand. So personality, tone of voice, and being like unapologetically that person and shouting about it. Quite often do I see brands, the reason for the brand being a brand, they get bored of it after like a year of shouting about it, and then they go off and talk about something else but you need to really deep root into one thing and just talk about it, based on the fact that, you know, the touch points with everyone in the UK is like so minimal that actually if you're talking to the same people, yes, that might get a bit boring for them, and it might be in the office, it might get a bit boring, but you need to keep saying the same thing because you're just broadening out your audience every single time. So you might touch someone new each time you say the reason why you're a brand. So I think there's something around just being like really, really strong in your values and your personality. Everyone talks about Perfect Ted. It's a really good example of that. Like, they own the colour green, right? Like, there's nothing better than that. And that's because they're saying like the same things and they're shouting about it and they're showing their personality. And I think that's just incredible. So I think that's one. I think that omni-channel in terms of working in out-of-home space, retail and online are as important as each other. And what I often see is when you're a startup brand, you first start out, you're like, oh, we've got into Harrods, Selfridges, Whole Foods, that sort of space. But then next year they get into Sainsbury's and they forget about all this bit here, and then they start losing that tail, which is actually the brand's like personality, and it's like the way you started. So I do feel like there's an element of making sure that all these channels are well looked after, and the omni-channel piece of being like online. Obviously, I'm going to pitch TikTok Shop, but I do think that is the one that's going to push rate of sale in store as well as like in sales on TikTok Shop. So I think that's a really important one. I also think that sometimes startup brands try to go too fast, and sort of to go, that phrase of like to go slow to go fast. I know it's like a well-trodden word, but a phrase. But I think there is a time when people can just like jump in too soon to a retailer when they haven't done the background work. We get that quite often. In fact, the last sort of 3 brands that reached out to us have said, oh, we've just got into Sainsbury's, I think we're going to get delisted. It was like their first listing outside of anything else that you would expect.
Yeah.
So I do think that there's an element of that's going to help people to be more successful. And there's a longer conversation around making sure you've got the right people around you that are advising you on that. Like investors want to see things super quick, but actually it might be quick in, quick out. So I think those things, like making sure that you're really solid and really sure about where you want to go and what your brand looks like, and you've got a good chance.
And why partnering with Getting to Grow this year feels like the right platform to you to talk about. Dive in and plug in.
We talked about this off air. It's because of you.
Thank you.
It is. I on a serious note, I think there's some superstars in the industry, and everyone's got that name that they think about. And I came up against you with a previous client, and I was like, who is this Zoe Fox? Like, what's she doing? And there was a buyer that we both know, Billy Curtis, who said to me, mate, she came into my office, she knew nothing, and then in 6 months knew everything and knew everyone. And I was like, I love that. So I think there's like from a selfish and a business perspective, great audience. Like, of course, it's our perfect audience to be speaking to. from a professional perspective, from a personal perspective, like I'm just excited to see where you go with it. So there's part of me that's like, I don't think we're going to ever, we're always going to benefit from a business perspective. I'm certain of that. But to join in on something so early and watch it grow is like how I live my whole life. I say, like, I want to be in the pub at 60 years old going, oh, I helped there, I was there.
Yeah.
And this is one, but albeit it's like not my usual thing, which is brands, it's someone.
Thank you. I mean, that's amazing. And to have your backing is super exciting, because what you guys can't see is the man behind the camera right now. But Elliot has come on board as my videographer for this year as well. And everything that will be happening in 2026 isn't possible without Elliot from Splinter Unit Films. Is that right? Yeah, Splinter Unit Films. I was going to say that is right, yeah. I'm just going to say that sentence again so we can edit that. And Elliot from Splinter Unit Films, I literally couldn't do any of what I'm doing this year without you. So a big thank you to him as well for making all of this possible. But yeah, there's so much synergy between us. I think, like, you're right. My audience is, you know, early stage founders to like big founders. It's also so many national account managers. It's so many sales execs. Anyone, to be honest with you, in FMCG. And I've had like massive brands come to my events. I've had like the head of marketing at Heineken be like, oh, I saw this. Coca-Cola know who I am.
Yeah.
Some of the ladies at Coca-Cola, I then have the Gift of the Girls with Ellen. So at Candy Kitten. So there's so much I'm doing in the industry where I think what you're doing as well in the industry is insane, and like really helping those brands, because it is really confusing when you're a startup and when you're early stages. We take it for granted that like I know exactly what ROI is return on investment, but like rate of sale is and like what that even means. But so many people don't, and this platform is firstly to like give such fun founder stories, but also help brands and early stage founders and anyone working in FMCG along the way with just understanding the industry a bit better. And I feel really lucky to work in an industry that really isn't scary. Like, I don't think we sell food, like we're not saving lives out here. Like, it's okay if we mess up and we make a mistake. Like, it's supposed to be fun. And no, like, this is also a fun industry because it's like everyone always needs to eat. So I don't think we're going anywhere.
No, AI is not taking over us.
You're always going to need a munch. So I'm so excited for this year. And Charlie feels like the perfect partner for Getting to Grow.
Thank you.